this thing she wanted built, put together. It came in 2 cartons. This top, this side, the other side, and that bar right there across the bottom was one kit, the extension. The rest of what you see came in the regular kit. Very simple to put together. Follow the directions. They are what they say they are. It comes with 2 wrenches. I believe it was 10 mil and 13 mil combination open end wrench. I would suggest, if you have access to it, get a ratchet style box end combination, 2 of them, because you're going to need to use both of them at the same time. Putting it together was simple. There are a couple of pieces that you put together that it's handy to have another person. If you don't have another person, you can do a couple different things. Stand it up just like this, reach in here, do there and there, instead of getting down crawling. This thing is light, it's not easy, not hard to mess with. When you stand it up, you're already going to have your bolts through. So get redneck with it, have your little duct tape. When you stick your bolt through, so it don't fall out, put your piece of duct tape right there on the head of that bolt. Then go on the inside, get your wrench on that nut, start if you start it, and then come over here, take the tape off. You got a wrench and you got a wrench.
But you're not talking about that particular bolt, you're talking about the top bolts.
The bolts that are hard to get to. You'll see what I mean when you go to put this thing together. If you got somebody else you can holler, it's a whole lot easier. If you don't, you can do it by yourself. Here's the piece that came with the extension. Everything else is self-explanatory.
All right, show them how the wheels work.
This thing is light. Do it with 2 fingers. Pivot it, whatever you need to do. Get ready to put it on the ground. Do the other side the same way. You got a part right there and a part right there. Same 2 parts are on the other side. Get you some stakes from somewhere, jam them in there, and it ain't gonna go nowhere. Pretty simple. That's it.
So a novice can put it together?
If you can read, you can put it together. Give yourself about 2.5, 3 hours. Turn the radio on. Make everybody else shut up and leave you alone.
Okay. Anything else?
That'll do it.
Alrighty. So this is the Farm and Yard chicken tractor. And it has this door on the front that you can open and close pretty regularly, easily. Get in there. Yep. And then it's all metal. It's very lightweight. I'm assuming this is aluminum.
Yep.
And then we have the door on the back. Oh, that's fine.
Open inside so you can get your eggs. It's where they can perch.
It is a wood roost bar, which I was happy that it wasn't metal. You never want a metal roost bar. And you can put a nest box up here so you can reach in and get your eggs. All right, so for my purposes, what I'm going to use it for is to grow the breasts out. So it's ready, it's to go, but the chicks are only 2 weeks old, so they're not quite ready to go out in it yet. But my plan is to just put it close to the barn and give them fresh grass every day while they grow out, from probably age 7, 8 weeks, since it is getting the fall, until they're ready to go. I use buckets for waters, so I'll probably just open this up right here and set a bucket of water in there. And then when I go to move it and change their water, I can just pull the bucket out while I'm moving the coop, change out their water, and give them fresh water in the new location. Feeders, I'll probably do a hanging feeder in there.
Yeah, you could get one of those 20, 25 pound hanging feeders and set
Yep.
it in there with the legs on it.
Yep, I think that's what I would do. I just would, you're going to treat, well, the breasts are going to be a lot like the Cornish. So you're going to just want food available all the time. And this is what I got it for. The only thing I see maybe being an issue, because I'm not going to crawl around on all fours to get in there and get the birds out, because this thing is only hip high, is getting them out. So I think what I would do next would be right here. You can get a floor put in here and push all the birds into the back, and then you could just very easily stand it up, and then all the birds would be kind of contained in that end piece, and then you could just reach in and grab them out. Yeah. But that's my intention, is to have several of these for growing out the meat birds, and maybe even put the baby ducks in when because baby ducks are so nasty to brood. This would be fantastic for baby ducks.
It has the 1/2-inch hardware cloth all the way around.
So if you live in a neighborhood, this would be fantastic, because we're out here in the country, but I have dogs, so I don't really have a predator issue. So Carrie, what are you going to use yours for?
So I'm going to use mine for the same thing. I'm going to put breasts in mine, and I'm going to tractor them around my yard for nice fertilization. I actually did that last year, and it worked out really well. But I'm going to put a breeding group in here to help expand my flock, and I'm going to get some more of these and use them to feed my family.
So how are you going to hook up water and food?
So my plan is, I really like Rent-A-Coop stuff. So Rent-A-Coop has some cups that are designed to go on cage wire. So I'm going to put probably 4 of those, 2 per panel, on one of the sides, because I may stick a lot of birds in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'll have a 5-gallon bucket that will feed water to those, and I'll more than likely feed it with a garden hose, because if chickens are on grass and they run out of food, you're okay. If it's in the summertime and chickens run out of water, you're going to have big problems in a matter of a couple of hours. So I like to make sure they don't run out. So most of my watering is automated. So I'll have hose pipes going to mine.
And a hanging feeder.
And a hanging feeder.
Yeah.
I may seriously look into drilling a hole through the roof at one of the beams that it has on the top to put an eye bolt there, just so I can hang a feeder. Or I may just stick it inside and get one of the ones with feet on it. Whatever it's going to be, it's either going to be sitting right at the door, or it's going to be hanging where I can literally open the door, dump feed into it, because the whole purpose is to make it easy, simple, and effective.
Well, what do you think about getting birds out of it? Same thing as me.
So getting birds out, I have teenagers at my house, so I'm probably going to have one get in there. Probably my oldest daughter, she's real tiny, so I'll have her get in there, hand me the birds one at a time. I'll put them in a crate, and we'll take them, like we're fixing to take some now, over to the scalder and the plucker, and they'll go to freezer camp.
Yep. So if you're older like me and don't want to get down on the ground, just be aware that you'll have to have a plan for that. Or get them out in the evening time when they're roosting and put them in a overnight cage.
You could do that.
Yeah.
Like in the evening times, let's say you wanted to do it this weekend and you had a couple of smaller cages, you could snatch a couple out of the back every couple of days until you have them all out. Then they'll be ready to go.
Yeah, that might be even easier than me flipping it up on its
Flipping it
back.
up. Yeah.
But, worst case scenario, you could always flip it up on its back. As far as the wind blowing it, it does have these things, I don't know what they're called.
These tabs right here, it's got one on either side on the front and on the back. So if you think you're going to have like a storm coming or whatever, you could easily hammer some stakes down in the ground and hold it in place. Personally, I feel like with the coops that I've had in the past, if you put the back end of the coop towards the direction that the wind is coming from, you won't have any issues. I've had some coops that I've had winds at my house over 40 miles an hour and never had a coop flip like that.
What do you think about how many birds we could put in it?
Let's see, 4, 8 is 12 square feet. To be honest, I would comfortably put 10 in there just because you're going to move it to a fresh salad every day. If it was going to be more stationary, I would probably only put 4 or 5 at the most. But, you know, if you're moving the tractor every day or two, I would say you could get away with 10.
So meat birds, grow up birds, something like that, you could do 10.
Yeah.
But if this was your main coop for your layers, you might only want 4 or 5 is what I would
I
think.
was gonna say I would do a trio, maybe an extra hen or 2, but that would be it.
Smaller birds,
Yeah.
not giant birds like we have.
Like
Smaller
bands,
birds.
something along those lines.
Yeah. So that's only 3 feet across, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only 3 feet, about 3 feet tall. So just keep that in mind. Yeah. So I can't think of anything else.
The only thing that I would say is for parents that have kids that are wanting to do showmanship or get into 4-H or anything like that and have them a couple of chickens and you don't want to be into it a whole heck of a lot of money, grab you one of these, feed her in the water. That'll let them have a couple of chickens, try it out before you run down the rabbit hole.
Sounds good.